The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
What is going on, everybody? Coming to you a little bit late today. I'm your host, Vince Miracle. This is a new episode of Today in Sports Betting presented by hoop-ball.com. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VMCenter. Follow the site at hoopballgaming or at hoopballtweets. It's been a wild ride the last couple of days, let me tell you. I've wrapped up, I think, a total of 2 and 6 since going on my hot streak. So now I went from being super hot to I can barely get warm. So there is that. We're in a little bit of a cold spell. We're in a rut, but that's okay. It happens in these games. The wins that I go for, and those who follow me know this, I look for the best value of the dollar. I try and find those underdogs just with my keen eye and how I watch the game. I can look at basketball games. I can look at certain lines and spread that just scream mislined. It literally shows it when you're making your bets, and that's what I kind of go for. And like I said, for a majority of it, I was plus 26 units within 7 days. It was crazy. So I'm looking for another big run coming here soon, and it could be here on this very Monday. With that said, let's go ahead and jump in. We got a big slate of games here. I think we have a total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game slate here on this Monday. Starting here with the Chicago Bulls heading to Indiana as 5.5-point underdogs. The over-under is currently sitting at 225. Pacers, man, I love this team. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. Domantas Sabonis still gets overlooked in a lot of conversations. The casuals don't really know who he is. If you don't watch any of the Pacers, you would think that the Pacers are just a bad team. And recently, because they don't have a number 2/3 type player away from Brogdon and Sabonis, so they're missing that LeVert. They're missing that Victor Oladipo. They've struggled a little bit. They've gotten a few wins. They've gotten a few losses, but it's been they've kind of just stayed just above water. You know, they're staying afloat. I like this team. Minus 5.5 seems like it could be a lot, just because the Bulls can still score the ball with the best of them. Zach LaVine's having a all-star season. Kobe White, he's played well. Thaddeus Young has filled the void pretty well as well. Filled the void in place of Lauri Markkanen very well. Also, not well as well. That was bad English. But still, I will probably try to avoid this game just because both teams can be a little bit unpredictable. You know what I mean? If I had to lean one way or the other, I'd probably go 5.5 to the Pacers. I really don't know. I just try to avoid that game. I really wouldn't do that one. However, I do like the first half. I like the Bulls +3 in the first half. I would take that. That looks nice. I like that one. I also like first quarter +2 for the Bulls just because the Pacers tend to start off a little bit slow. So I'll go ahead and go with that. But away from those bets, there's not much in this game that I like in terms of finding the right bets to put big money on. So these are like, if you did anything, I would just sprinkle change on it. I wouldn't even do a full unit. Maybe just like little things, add it to a parlay or something. Nothing crazy. Let's go ahead and look at these over-unders here. I like the over-under and the points. So this is going to be a prop bets. By the way, prop bets presented to you by mybookie.ag, sponsor of the show. Go to mybookie.ag for all of your sporting needs, whether it be basketball, hockey, baseball, football, all sports. Maybe like betting on politics. Maybe like betting on pop culture. That might be a thing you like to do. Or hey, maybe you even like to just do the casinos. They got blackjack. According to Devin, they got roulette. You got a few different games over there. Go play. mybookie.ag. When you sign in there and you sign up, use promo code HOOPBALL. That's HOOP. BALL, and they'll match up to $500 of your very first deposit. And after you go to mybookie.ag and you sign up and you use that promo code HoopBall, slide onto Twitter, look up Dan Besbris at Dan Besbris on Twitter, and he'll hook you up with another prize. So you get a twofer. You get a 2-for-1 there. Back to the props here. Bulls versus Pacers. Kobe White, 16.5 is the over-under. I like that one. That's the only one I actually really like in this game. I'm going to take the over on 16.5. He's fast. He can shoot the ball very well. And I've always seen it through the season that Brogdon, he's a really good defender, but he is also he tends to get flat-footed at times, and I think Kobe White is really good at blowing by his opponents on that first step. So I think that gets him the advantage there to get those mid-range jumpers off, those floaters off, and I like him scoring more than 16.5 points today. That's also positive money that pays at plus 110. As we move on to game number 2, we have the Houston Rockets facing off against the Washington Wizards in Washington. Russell Westbrook returns against Houston. I'm not sure if he's sitting out. They didn't play yesterday, so I'm sure he's going to play. But let me go ahead and look up this injury report while I have you guys here. Let's see. Because if he's playing, man, I really don't know. I love John Wall in this game as a DFS play. Yeah, so he's not on the injury report. It looks like Westbrook is going to play. So that's good news. But they did play yesterday. That's what makes me feel nervous. So it is the second night of a back-to-back. However, he's not on the injury report, and that makes me like the Wizards a little bit more when he doesn't play, because I think Raul Neto plays a very big role for them when he does play. I mean, as a starter, every time I see him play, he at least gets you 5 assists and at least gets you 2 steals. Raul Neto does. And he just plays his role to a T. I like him there. John Wall's still eating against Nato. John Wall's eating against Russell. And Westbrook's played 29 minutes, so don't quote me on this, but I don't think Westbrook's playing. Big man-wise, Alex Lenz filled a good role for the Wizards. I like the Wizards there. At plus 105 at home, I'm kind of leaning to the Wizards, but the more I think about the Rockets roster, right, they have no Oladipo. He's going to be out. But you have John Wall playing. Eric Gordon still feels there. Deshaun Tate, man, he just plays his role so good. I like Deshaun Tate. Daniel House is a bit of a hit-or-miss player, but he definitely knows how to shoot that thing. So just give the ball to him, shoot. Cousins is a walking double-double. He's definitely not the Cousins of old, but he's still Cousins. He's still Boogie. He still gets a little Boogie in him. Man, it's a coin flip game. You can go either side. I mean, I guess best bang for your buck, you get the Wizards, and I think the Wizards, you know, they have the potential to beat this team. Bertans is starting to hit. I think Rui's starting to find his legs. Beal is Beal. I think if Raul Neto starts, it makes the game better. So I think best bang for your buck in a pick'em game like this, you gotta go. You gotta go with the Wizards. They're at home. You gotta give them that benefit. Next game, Hawks, Knicks. This is a good one. I think a lot of people still don't put enough respect on the Knicks. I think that they played so well this season. They played so good this season in comparison to what people thought they were going to be. So I'm not saying no, they're not a really great team or anything like that, but they're fun to watch. They keep it competitive, and they got some nice pieces. So I like it. Hawks, Knicks. Hawks -2 on the road in New York. Again, another pick'em, another close game. Over-under sits at 218. Now, this is the one that I thought was interesting. Over-under is only at 218. I'm clicking the over on that, and I like that a lot. I like over 218. That just seems way too low for me, especially with these big men. Like these big men, there's gonna be guys, especially on the Knicks side, that just shoot the ball and it's an automatic miss. You're going to get a putback easy. Julius Randle's going to Euro bully through John Collins. You're just going to see shots go down. And I think Derrick Rose plays a big impact in this game as well. With that all said and done, again, I don't know who to go here. I'm leaning Hawks -2. That's the way I'm leaning currently right now at this point. I have not put my wager pass picks in. I will have them in later today. But Hawks -2 is currently where I am leaning. However, just like in that Wizards and Rockets game, the best bang for your buck is with the home team as underdogs, and they are playing well right now. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if you put a little sprinkle on that money line, plus 105. So why take the 2 points? Why not get positive money and think that they're going to win the game? That's just my personal opinion. And go that way. Go with the Knicks. I like over 218. That's my favorite part about that game. Over 218. The Philadelphia 76ers are the next game up. They're tipping off in Utah at 6:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as 7.5-point underdogs to the Utah Jazz. Now, with that big of a spread, you have to assume somebody is out. So I haven't looked up this injury report yet either. So it looks like Joel Embiid is a game-time decision. He's questionable with back spasms, as you guys just heard that ad when I pulled it up. Let's go check on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is playing, so he's going to be there. And the last part of this big three, let's go ahead and look up Tobias Harris. And Toby Harris is also playing. So the big question mark is obviously going to be with Joel Embiid in that back. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I use multiple different sites when I make my bets, just because I feel a lot of them give out different spreads. The one I tend to use the most is mybookie.ag. Not just because they're a sponsor here of the show, but I feel like their platform is the easiest to understand. However, I do use others, and I won't promote them here on the show. But however, there are some out there, one that starts with the letter B, that you can make your bets, and as long as it's before the tip up, you can cash out early for the same amount as you put in. So with that being said, if it's possible for you, I do take plus 7.5 here with the Sixers, with the mindset, with the hopes that Joel Embiid plays, because that's a lot of points for a Sixers team that is playing very well. And obviously that's enough points to give if a potential MVP player is out. And with this line, I think they assume Joel Embiid is out. So take that with your own risk. But at 7.5, that just seems too many points to leave on the table. So I'm taking Sixers plus 7.5 here. Over under sitting at 225.5. I like the under, regardless of if Embiid plays or not. Excuse me. Regardless of if Embiid plays or not, that 225.5 is a lot for both teams. I'm gonna hit the under on that one. I feel pretty confident. Not as confident as I do about the Hawks one, but I do like the under here on 225.5. Next game up. It's one of my favorite games of the day. Not only because it involves my favorite team, but because it's here in my city. Brooklyn Nets, 4.5-point favorites over the Sacramento Kings. Yes, they're my favorite team. But they're not my favorite team because you guys think, oh yeah, I root for them. No, they're my favorite team because they're the first team that ever let me cover sports. That's why the Kings are my favorite team. They sit as 4.5-point underdogs here at home. The Kings do. There's the money line sits at plus 165. Here's the crazy thing though. Over under is at 243. The Kings have been struggling, man. They've been struggling as of late. Their defense is going backwards. And I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and he said exactly what I was thinking. As soon as they start missing shots, their whole morale goes down. Their effort goes away. And that seems to always be a problem. So that's rough to see. 4.5. No KD. It's already been announced KD is going to miss at least the next 2 games for Brooklyn. So that includes this one here. It's going to be the Kyrie Harden show. I'm taking the Nets, man, minus 4.5. I feel pretty good about that one, too. It's sitting at almost even money to take them at 4.5. So I would take that there, minus 4.5. The biggest reason why is the Nets defense, while it does struggle, the biggest struggle that they have isn't necessarily with the... I should say it the other way. The biggest problem with the Nets defense isn't against guards. It's against big men that can score in the post. And unfortunately, there's no real post presence for the Kings. It's mainly just closing out on shooters, driving kicks, and effort really could beat that on any given night. Their speed kills, but the Nets play a pretty fast up-tempo offense as it is. They want to move the ball. They want to just grab the rebound and go. I like the Nets here -4.5. I just think better players in terms of Harden and Kyrie and even Joe Harris. Consistency at such a high level is what gets it done. Over under 243 is just so many points, man. I've been hitting the under on a lot of these games. I don't know if it's been hitting though, because on the day I still lose money. So I these are like the last 4 days, right? Since my cold spell, it's been 4 days in a row. So I couldn't really tell you because I just look at the end result, and the end result has showed it. And I probably should look back to see if they have been hitting. So I apologize for not having that information off the top of my head. But just you guys gotta know, that's so many points, 243 points for both teams. I don't know. I'm hitting the under on that one. It just seems like it's way too much. And I'm taking -4.5. Pretty confident about that. Harden's a Kings killer. Kyrie's a bucket getter, and Joe Harris is just a shooter, a wet ball. I think you're gonna see Noah Vonleh in this game too. I think they wanted him to get acquainted, comfortable, figure it out. But at the end of games, when they start winning, even against the Warriors, that's the first big that they actually put in. So I'm interested to see what they do there. He's $3,500 on FanDuel, by the way. If you're willing to risk $3, put it in a big lineup. That's a 0.1% owned player. Put him in there. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road in Golden State, right across the bridge here, facing off against the Warriors as 9.5-point underdogs. So the Cavaliers made big news today. They made big news. They said that they're not going to play Andre Drummond anymore until the trade is done. They're moving on with their franchise center, which is Jared Allen. That's why they traded for him. Shams reported that the Raptors are in talks to land him. Perfect location for him, too. That would hurt the value, though, for all the fantasy listeners. That's going to hurt the value of Chris Boucher. Andre Drummond would be a nice fit there, though. I don't really know about this game, man. The Warriors just take off on you. Jared Allen's good, but if they're not even playing Drummond, they're down so many big men. You're going to see the combination of Allen and JaVale. JaVale McGee. That's who you'll see at big. Sexland's good, though, man. I think that people underestimate Sexland. Torian Prince has found his role there. C.D. Osman's a nice scorer off the bench. Plus 9.5 is a lot, but Steph Curry and those guys, man, those guys are mean. They still don't have a big man, though, so just know that. Jared Allen's a play here. Just for lopsidedness. That's a play. But on terms of this game, you kind of just got to avoid. You got to wait and see how they play. Because Drummond was a big part of their team almost the whole season until that trade, and basically now they're still out Larry Nance, who I think is such a huge piece for that team. He's out 6 weeks. So Torian Prince is going to fill in there. C.D. Osman's going to have roles. There's guys that are going to be taking on new minutes, and sometimes that's a good thing. The next man up mentality works a lot. If I had to lean one way or the other, I'm probably going to take those points just with the benefit of Cavs having the size advantage down low for rebounds and block shots, both with JaVale and Jared Allen. Sexland can get buckets. That's the backcourt of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, for those who don't know. I think I'm just being a weirdo saying Sexland all the time. Torian Prince can knock down an open three. C.D. Osman can knock down an open three. Those guys aren't bad players. So plus 9.5 isn't horrible. Maybe I would throw that in a teaser somehow. Throw that in a teaser. I bet you there's some good teasers out there. Last game of the night, probably the best game out of all of it. Sixers Jazz would be good if Joel Embiid plays, and then the Rockets Wizards is just going to be a good game because it's kind of poo-poo teams going at it. Same thing with the Hawks and Knicks. Talented players on each team. It could be good games, but really just with no real fire behind it. But this is the best game right here. Heat on the road in LA going up against them Clippers. I was just watching the Clippers game the other day. It was so funny. Reggie Jackson dribbling the ball, did not want to give it to Kawhi. the best player on their team, especially with Paul George out. He said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. Repost. Give me a screen. Gave him a screen. Reposted. Couldn't get position. Kawhi gets the ball turned over. Chauncey Billups brings him aside and starts talking to him, and then you could just see Tyronn Lue walking up to him and just start talking to his ear too. The one thing I hate about the mask, like I get it, safety protocols, and much needed, right? I just hate that I can't read their lips. That's the best part about watching basketball, when you can see the coaches just yelling at them. The Heat are 3.5-point underdogs here on this game. It's a big game. The Heat, man, every time I watch them, I just feel like they're always missing something, and they really are. I mean, they've been hit with injuries so many times that I just hope that it all comes together playoff time for them. I really do. I think they need all of their pieces. Chris Nunn's look good, you know. He's filled it, but Tyler Hero's been in and out. Jimmy Butler's been in and out. Bam's been in and out. Like, it's always been the next man up mentality for the Heat, and that's what makes them the Heat, right? Like they're that gritty team. But the Clippers just, man, I feel like they're really clicking this year. And at 3.5-point favorites, I like them here. And minus 3.5, they're at home. Over under sits at 216. It's a defensive game, but I think they're underestimating the ability of scoring for the Heat, so I'm going to hit the over there. I think that's just too low. It's the lowest scoring game of the day. I'm going over on it, man. I think 216 is too low. I think, again, they're underestimating the scoring ability of the Heat. The Clippers can get buckets. So that's it for me, guys. That's the whole spread. It's a short show, right to the point. I apologize for it coming out a little bit late. But let's just go ahead and do a quick rundown real quick right back down this case. So we're avoiding Bulls and Pacers. However, if we had to lean one way or the other, we are leaning Pacers minus 5.5. However, we do like the Bulls plus 3 in the first half. Rockets, Wizards, just best bang for your buck. This is literally a coin flipping game here. I'm going to go with the Wizards plus 105, especially if the line changes because Russell Westbrook sits out. I think the Wizards play better when Russell Westbrook is out of the lineup. Hawks, Knicks. This game is good. I like this game. Minus 2 is what we're leaning on here, though. The Hawks minus 2 on the road against the Knicks. I think their big man presence puts a wall up to where Julius Randle can't do the Julius Randle things that he's been doing. So we like minus 2 here. We also really like over 218 in this game. Sixers, Jazz, plus 7.5 is where we're leaning here for the Sixers. We like the Sixers plus 7.5. We're going to hold that, though. Remember, this is a hold bet. This is one of those ones where if you are able to cash out before the game tips off and we get news that Joel Embiid is officially out of this game. As of right now, he is listed as questionable. However, if he plays, plus 7.5 is way too many points for this Sixers team who is clicking. We are taking that over 7.5. Feeling good about that one too. We're also going to take the under on 225.5. We feel okay about that one. Not as good as we do about over 218 for Hawks and Knicks, but we do like under 225.5. Brooklyn minus 4.5 is what we're taking in this next game against the Kings. We like minus 4.5 here. The Kings defense is starting to head back. It is finding their steps backwards here. They're giving up a ton of points already as it is. And now you're going to have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Joe Harris find their buckets. They're going to probably put in their new pieces with Noah Vonleh. So, again, we like that as a DFS play. But minus 4.5 is where we are here. If you want to get a little risky, you want to start throwing some money out there, I'd feel comfortable with you guys go ahead and taking the under on 243. It's just so many points for both teams to be scored. Cavs, Warriors, we're taking plus 9.5 if we really need a bet to add to a parlay. Like I said, this could be a game that you can use as a teaser bet. Maybe you get like an 8-point teaser, and a teaser means it's already going to be 8 extra points on what the spread already is. I mean, you could probably find that out there. It probably will pay you even money. That's something I would consider, but I'm avoiding this game as a whole. Last game here was the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Clippers. As much as we like the Heat here at Hoop Ball, especially from me, we're going to go Clippers here, minus 3.5. We feel very confident about that one. And we also want to take over 216. Over 216 just seems like the logical choice here. It's the lowest scoring game of the day, but it has some hitters on here, man. You got Kawhi, you got Bam, you got Jimmy, you got Marcus Morris, you got Tyler Hero, you got Reggie Jackson. I mean, there's people that can put the ball in the hole on both sides. I think they're underestimating them as scorers, so we're going to take the over at 216. It's going to be close. It could be like a 220 game. Regardless, that's still over, and that's what we're taking. I appreciate all of you guys for listening to this show. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VMCenter. I've been your host today, Vince Miracle. I appreciate you guys listening. Again, what I need you guys to do is rate, review, and subscribe to this show. And anyone who does leave a 5-star rating or review, or even a 1-star rating and a review, you screenshot that, you send it to me. I will literally DM you my picks for the day. Okay? All of them. All my Wager Pass picks. I'll send them to you. Screenshot it, send it to me. You get all my picks. I communicate very well with people on Twitter and in the Discord. I try my best. There's a lot of people out there that message me through the games. The other day I had someone messaging me through the UFC fights, and during the UFC fights I also had a couple Supercross people hitting me up for Supercross bets. So I'm very active on Twitter if you guys are getting to my DMs. So go ahead and follow me at VM Center. Follow the whole crew, follow the team, sign up for the Wager Pass. It's just 33 cents a day. Again, it's great. It's great, guys. Highly recommend it. Hoop-ball.com is the show. And until next time, here's all the good vibes. Good luck.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.